Hello folks. Okay, somebody sent me a very interesting recording that both follows on from the last video about what's going on in the schools, but also I'll start it off by just explaining for those who don't get stuck into this kind of nonsense. But if you in any way give the plod or any other civil corporate entity the idea that you are a free man or a sovereign citizen, etc., etc., then the police and whomever become primary school children, dance and sing about we've got a sovereign man, we've got a go, blah, 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 blah. This is what we face. It's what I faced when I got arrested through a guy called Sergeant Plummer and another sergeant on the desk, and then all the other Gibbons joined in. It's a real serious issue that they just try and flip you into this nonsense role because, of course, they've been taught to do this. It's to belittle, to discriminate, to make you feel like you're a nobody, you know. And it's sad that English men and women are actually happy to do this. But we do seem to be in that position today where English men and women are doing things they certainly should not be doing. So in America, a sovereign citizen has actually been declared to be a domestic terrorist. So there's clearly something going on in relation to offering up labels against you if you show yourself in any way, shape or form attempting to adopt a standing on man and off person. Straight away then you're into the Harris cult's freeman on the land category, and they'll belittle you. To extreme measures, to be quite honest. You know, it's quite worrying and comical at the same time to watch these so-called grown men act like primary school children with this idea of sovereign citizen, freeman on the land, etc. That aside, I always make it clear I'm not a sovereign citizen, and nor am I a freeman on the land, both of which are legal titles, and I have no interest in either. Okay. But that doesn't seem to stop them. They just railroad the little game, because, of course, they're content that the Nazis are fully behind them and the jackboot is on their side. So let's just take a listen to this very sinister recording. Now, he says clearly that he can't evidence it absolute, but that this is in sync, I would say, with everything that's going on right now. And, of course, you know, as I've said before, a child is a ward of the state, and a parent is also tied into the state. So if you're identifying yourself as parents and your children, your offspring as children, see how easy it is to mistake it. That's so ingrained, these terms. As I said in the other video, you're operating to what you think children and parent means, but this bunch aren't. This bunch are on a different language system to you, and it's called legal English. And where you'd expect the lawyers, the courts, etc. to be operational in legal English, well, no, all the courses, the NLP stuff that's been going on since Tony Blair took office and the cult called Common Purpose took over inside the corporate realm, everything has been to teach you legal English as opposed to formal English, and indeed as opposed to slang, which is what most people speak and understand. So with that in mind, and the fact of what I was exposed in the previous video, in the drill at a particular primary school in Accrington, then this is essential listen. And not only that, look, you teachers out there, you heads, you really need to start to recognise that those who are pushing this on you are not your friends. They'll only back you up as long as it doesn't affect them. You know, the minute that it starts to affect them, they'll just sideline and put you into the position of liability, because, of course, you're being guided, they're not commands, and you're taking it upon yourself to enforce it, whether that's wearing the mask, whether that's mourning at somebody who hasn't had the vaccination. You've got to recognise that the government and all its operatives are only giving you guidance, and the minute you pick this up and take it on upon yourself and enforce it, you are actually liable as an individual in law, you know. And we're getting to the point now where that's the only method that is going to start to bring this down, is that we do start to hold people accountable for their actions, ignorant or not. So it's up to teachers and heads, people that are in there. Now, we need some whistleblowing going on. You know, my email's everywhere. lifeinthemix22@yahoo.com. Send it to me. I will keep it totally confident, whomever you are. And you can communicate with me by email on a manner that I don't even know who you are. That's fine. As long as it's not insane and ridiculous and fits in well with what we know is going on, then I would publish it. And rightly so. You know, we've not got many months left now before September, when their intention is to destroy the next generation. Okay, so just listen to this rather chilling recording sent to me today.
I wanted to bring this to more people's attention. I have a relative that is a teacher, and this week she underwent a training session that is a regular yearly training session on safeguarding for children. She went through an e-learning, a 25-page layout, and on the last slide, it was about COVID amongst extremist subject. What the government has mandated for head teachers to train and teach their own teachers is that they are trying to equalise terrorist activity or far right or Islamic fundamentalist as an example, how to spot whether a child comes from that kind of family. They are equalising it with anti-vaccination and anti-mask wearers. They're starting to roll this program out now. The headmaster of this particular school was very uneasy giving this part of the teaching of the program, because he himself wants to get rid of the masks within the school that he works in. But by clearly having to give this program, this training session, it was obviously he had been told from above that it is mandated from the government. So, this to me, I feel is huge, and I feel that people need to be aware. It's not by accident. In September, they want headmasters to be involved with the pushing of a vaccination program for children. Now, this training session is trying to equalise that if you don't want vaccinations for your children, if you don't want them to wear masks or be tested like lab rats, that you are an extremist parent. This is the information they're trying to push across. And that means that they want teachers to take down your name and you will go on a list. Just like it was in communist Russia or Nazi Germany, they targeted children in school to tell on their parents, either unwittingly or with understanding of what they were doing. This next stage, in my understanding, is extremely sinister, and people need to be aware of what's happening. This is serious. They are writing an agenda to criminalise good, normal people. It doesn't take much of a leap of imagination that if you are classed as an extremist parent and you're put on a list, that they will move to steps to try and take your children from you. I just want people to be aware. More people need to know that this is coming so that we can make a stand. We need to start pushing back. More people need to wake up.
You've got to look at the shock programme as is and as has been. It's aimed specifically at anybody that's currently employed by the corporate system. And by all forms of skullduggery and deception and fear, they have convinced you have to take the shot or you're going to lose your job. That's because you didn't look at discrimination, you didn't look at the Equalities Act, and you just had no point of reference but to say, yes, please. Now, they've got you in a position whereby you're going to be hard-pressed not to give them permission then to do your child, because you won't want to be on these lists that they're creating of opposition to this corporate monster. And they've gathered a lot of people who've taken the shot. So they're now confident, obviously, if they're pushing this into school, that there's enough of you that are employed in this corporate system, whether it's a school, whether it's in the council, whatever used to be classed as our civil system or state is now in the hands of the corporate. You know, we've followed the problems that the teachers and the heads have had for all these years, but the good ones have been replaced by the bad ones. Of course, here we've still got a sense that some of them are still not totally stupid, because this headmaster in particular with this case is not happy. He's not even happy about the actual coverings on the face either. Now, you see, the thing is as well, you've got to look at what they've encouraged and created through these wars. They've created the idea that a Muslim is a terrorist. And let's face it as well, the majority of people that have taken this vaccination that didn't really have a need to take it, save for they wanted to go on holiday, are the same kind of minds that don't have any other points of reference to realise that it's not actually a racial thing that's going on. That's just there to create an arena for you to aim your disposition, your hatred, etc. on, so that you're not actually putting it where it is, and that is the corporate state. So this is going to make it so ridiculous for Muslim families, because not only if they don't want to do what is being told by the schools, the list that they're going to be being put on is an Islamic terrorist. The rest of us are going to be classed as right-wing. I mean, I've told you on other videos that somebody said, what did I think about Trump? I said, well, it's not about what I think, it's what do I know. And Trump's role was to create a division. The left have been running in America since at least the Bolshevik Revolution, or at least the installation of the Federal Reserve. So the left has been building for a long, long time. And up until Donald Trump, it was just normal people and then this group that called themselves the left. Donald Trump had to enshrine this idea that all the normal people are actually not just normal, they're on our side. They're right. You know? They've built up this left-right paradigm, and now they're building up a structure in order one can attack the other. So if you're classed as right-wing now, you are now going to be classed as a terrorist. If you are a Muslim and you're... Can you see what's going on here? Now, you've got to take responsibility at some point, because it's got this far because you haven't been paying attention for a very long time. You know? You see, they're getting away with this because there's absolutely zero opposition to what the schools are doing by you, the parents. Now, the reason that's going on is because you're not together as friends, as people. When you're in that schoolyard, you should be talking to each other. And all coming to the conclusion that you're not comfortable with all this. Because I'll tell you now, if 50 parents went into the school at the same time and saying the same thing, what in the world are you playing at? Where's the head? I'm holding you personally liable for going along with this nonsense with my offspring. That would kill it in the schools immediately. Okay? Get enough of that going, and then we get these teachers in court. What is going on and who's pushing it? Who are the ones that are not comfortable pushing it, and who are the ones that have plenty of vigour in pushing it? I mean, when I did that little video up at Peel Park the other day, what was odd, but it didn't really show on the video, the people that were coming out were all dressed in black. They weren't teachers. It was as though they had been put there on the drill. When the drill was over, they left. And, okay, that's a summarisation. But that's what I saw. But it didn't come up as well on the video for me to talk about it on the video. Otherwise, I would. I should have zoomed to show you. You would know what I mean if you saw the dress of these people that were coming out. They weren't teachers, okay? And obviously they were coming out as the doors were coming open, so the drill was over. So this is the schools. This is your governorship at the schools. This is at that level that this is being allowed and pushed. And they're putting pressure on the head. You know, so the public partnership with schools has been a disaster because there's no public influence in the rules of the game anymore for education. And the same in everything that's public-private partnership. Okay, so if you have teachers in your family, you all need to be saying, is this going on? Is this going on and who's pushing it? You need to start getting involved. This is about your offspring, not mine. My offspring are not in the schools, they're all grown up. I'm saying to you, this is for you to get off your asses, come together, all of you. I mean, how many parents are there for each school? A lot of you. It only needs 20, 30, 40, 50. All of you, if you can muster it. Get in that school at the same time, preferably when you're going to take your children one morning. All of you, march in that school and fill it. And demand the head explain exactly what it is going on here. And who's sanctioning it. And why have you, as the mother and father, not been informed of this extremely nasty game about to, being unrolled now as I speak. You know, this is the way you're going to have to do this, people. These schools are going to carry out this agenda. They're going to carry out the vaccination of your offspring at September under the Gillick competency test, you know? You've enough grammar here now in these 2 short videos to really make you start to think that you really have to do something here. And all you need to do is come together with all the other parents you know and make a stand. Start to make a stand now and don't give them any opportunity to to hide from this. If this is going on in the schools, these teachers know about it. If they're your relatives, you have a duty to say, well, what is going on here? And are you hiding this? Are you being deceptive? Are you not answering a question because you've been told you can't answer a question? You know, you're running out of time, but you haven't run out of time. You've got to see it in this way. And with that, I will say, till the next time.